hey everybody. If you're on our live stream, welcome. If you are not, welcome anyway to the weekly Nerd Podcast. With me, we have David Drucker.
Hey everyone.
And we have Tony Kaz tonight.
Woo-hoo!
If you're on our live stream, you can see we're not in our normal spot. Our normal spot was making weird sounds, so we weren't in there because weird sounds and recording do not mix. Tonight we got a jam-packed show for you, podcast. I love listening to sports talk radio. Like, that's one of the things I do, like, all day long while I'm working and stuff like that. And they were doing this thing where for every caller that called in, they had to do, it was called One Must Go. And the idea of it was they would give three or four things, and one of those things, the caller had to decide which one was going to go and never have existed. So, like, it's Philadelphia Sports Talk Radio. So they would say, like, Carson Wentz, Brian Dawkins, and Mike Schmidt. One of them had to go and had never have existed. So none of their stats, none of what they did for their respective teams and stuff like that. And I said, I think that's a pretty good idea. We could do some nerdy stuff. So we're going to do that tonight. And I'm getting security looking at me weird. Cool. We're allowed to carry on. So we're going to do that tonight. I've come up with a list of 20 things, and we're probably not going to get to all of them. Most of them are nerdy, but some of them are a little bit different.
Now, before you go into the list, I actually want you to go into the original list, because I thought it was a little bit funny. One of our own podcasters was introduced in that list.
Yeah.
And I want to actually make a little comment about that list as well before you go into the real list.
We commented in the Weekly Nerd, we made a post saying, hey, we're doing this, so come up with some stuff for us. Come up with some stuff with us, and we'll talk about it. And if you come up with some, as you're watching this live feed, comment them, we'll see them, we'll talk about them. But one of the things that was commented by Alex Croce, he just commented, David Drucker. Missed the whole premise. And I commented back, and I said, listen, you need to give us things to choose between. And he gave the sun, pizza,
and I think your family.
Your family, and David Drucker. So obviously we would choose, Tony, what would you choose?
Your family.
No, I would not. I love my family. I actually love my family. They're awesome. I love my kids. Love my girlfriend. She's amazing. What were the other choices? It was
the sun,
pizza,
and Drucker.
You know what? I could do without pizza. If pizza wasn't invented, I could always go into something else.
That's true.
I mean, to be perfectly honest,
I feel touched, Tony.
Well,
I can't believe a fatty like you.
Wow.
Pizza.
This is getting out of hand.
To keep me.
To be perfectly honest, David, I have turned a new note. I've turned a small corner in my life where I'm actually eliminating pasta and pizza out of my life.
Which is a terrible decision, Tony.
I know. I want to lose weight. I'm a fat elephant.
I'm right there with you, trying to lose some weight.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what we're doing. Comment if you're watching the live stream, and if you are watching the live stream, please like it and share it with all of your friends and such. And so comment what ones you'd like us to do, and we'll get into it. We're going to start off with one, and this is one that I came up with. I came up with most of these.
Yep.
They don't know, neither Tony nor Drucker know what these are, so they're going to be, I'm kind of the moderator, and they're the ones that are kind of doing this, and we're going to talk about it, discussion, stuff like that. All right, so here's the first one. And we're going to make some of these into polls throughout the week. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern. One must go and have never existed in the comic book world.
That would mean no movies, comics, cartoons, nothing.
Okay, I'll start out first.
I have which one I would go with.
I'm probably going to go with the obvious choice on Wonder Woman. I don't think that she was such a prolific character, either in comic books and or movies, to affect anyone's life. I mean, it's not like she was a shining moment. She doesn't do anything special. Batman, Superman, like, they've protected cities. They've protected planets. They've gone out of their way to show how much of a superhero that they can be. Wonder Woman, she...
World War One.
In the movie,
it's World War One.
That she was such an influential part of World War One to make a difference, but that's where I'm at with it. I don't know. What do you think,
Yeah,
David?
David, what are you
No,
at?
I think I'm leaning towards Superman because I think
the character of DC, really, because though Batman has grown in popularity recently, it was always Superman.
I love Batman. It's one of the lone reasons why I like DC. Superman, for me, his powers are never clearly defined. He always develops new powers.
He has them all
for new situations that you didn't know he had. So his powers never being clearly defined kind of ruins the character for me, and I feel like he's not a character that has many flaws.
Well, that's true.
I feel like he's this perfect character. He is Superman. He doesn't do anything wrong, doesn't make the wrong choices, always has a perfect sense of morality or justice.
Okay.
So I think I'd go with
personally,
Superman.
I would go with Green Lantern. Now, Green Lantern is my favorite of those four. I love Batman. I love Superman. I like Wonder Woman. But Green Lantern is my favorite of those four. But when I look at it, DC was made by Superman, by Batman, and by Wonder Woman.
Yes.
And to be frank, taking out one of those and inserting Green Lantern doesn't do much. And so for DC would lose a ton. And so though I love Green Lantern and the Lantern Corps and everything like that, I think I would have to go with the with Green Lantern in this one. Before we go to our next one, however, and maybe keep talking about this a little bit, Tony, how many viewers did we have on last week's live feed? Because we want to say thank you to all of our watchers and listeners, but we always thank our listeners, but we want to thank our watchers who watched it. So how many did we have off the top of your head? It's rough.
Roughly 1,300.
Which is great. Thank you very much.
1,300 and change.
I think we can all say when we started doing this that we never really expected it to grow even to that number.
No.
Just, we were doing this to have fun, and we kind of dreamed that it might, but thank you very much for listening, for watching now.
Yeah, definitely.
And
you guys are
amazing,
great.
if you guys are
amazing
checking
run.
in on us, make sure you're participating in our polls. Make sure.
Oh, yeah.
We would love topic suggestions, or even if we suggest the topic we're coming up with for the week, any questions you may have.
Yeah.
We'd love to listen and love to talk about it.
All right, so here's the next one, and this one's a little bit different.
I can't even check out the original post anymore. I don't even know where it is.
Instead of one must go, this one is one must stay. So it's three bad things, and one has to stay. 3 movies: Justice League, Green Lantern, or Daredevil. One has to stay. The other 2 get wiped from existence, DC and or Marvel. Never made the movie. We don't have to talk about how bad it is anymore, because it never happened.
Justice League, Green Lantern, and what was it?
Daredevil.
Daredevil. Which one stays? I would probably say the obvious choice is Daredevil. I mean, it's the best movie out of that trifecta, at least. If not the best series for Marvel.
Well, it's just the
Entertainment.
movie. It's not.
Oh,
it's just
the
the movie.
Ben Affleck movie.
Right. It's just the
Okay.
Ben Affleck movie. Don't worry.
That thing was atrocious.
Boy, when you just described a different movie, your attitude changed so drastically.
Oh, that was just a horrible movie.
Does it
Horrible.
change the answer though?
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah.
To
I would have to say Justice League. Justice League is the
Justice League is staying?
Yeah, it's definitely
I'm
needs to
agreeing
stay.
with that.
I agree too. Wow.
Yeah.
All 3 of us are keeping
3
Justice League.
Well,
Yeah.
Green Lantern was crap and didn't launch anything.
Yep.
Justice League is not a very good movie, but I could, if I just had that and that was my only superhero movie to watch, I guess I'd enjoy it more. Daredevil, I saw it once or twice. It's okay, really. It's
Nothing exciting.
No.
Nothing to write home about.
No.
There's
that weird fighting scene in the park on the playground.
yeah.
How that's better there? That's worse than a weird fighting scene in Justice League, because they were kind of weird, except for the scene where Superman's woken up and he's so much more powerful than everybody, and it's great.
Yeah.
All right, so that
and
one's
chucks
cool.
people around. He's faster than the Flash. He's stronger than Wonder Woman. He's
Featuring CGI mouth.
yeah,
Featuring CGI upper lip.
no stash.
All right, we're moving on now, and this one is a little bit different.
Okay.
It's the same. It's still nerdy. Frank Miller, and this is one must go. Frank Miller, Jack Kirby, Alan Moore, or Stan Lee. One of these iconic comic book writers has to go.
Wow.
Which means nothing they ever wrote is in existence. So I think that means, in my opinion, that means Stan Lee has to stay. Because he came up with a lot of Marvel's characters. A decent amount of Marvel's characters.
He co-written, co-wrote / co-drew with Jack Kirby.
True.
Jack Kirby came up with a lot of the concepts, and Stan Lee had really not that necessarily that he's not a Marvel staple. I don't know if you know the backstory behind Stan Lee. Mm-hmm. Stan Lee had started out I think he was actually in the mailroom when he first started for Marvel. And it wasn't even Marvel, it was something else. And then Marvel took it over. And when he was working for that company, they had asked him to stand in for somebody that was missing. So when they had given him the go-ahead to go ahead and, I don't even know what he was doing. I think he was inking or he was doing writing or something. They said, wow, you're really talented. You should stay with us. And then from there on, it grew into a huge empire for him. And not to say that he wrote on Jack Kirby's coattails, but they co-wrote /
So who are you getting rid of? And Joe Zawisky comments, thanks for our first comment on it. And he says, not Stan. He's keeping Mr. Lee.
True. Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, phenomenal. Frank Miller... I don't know.
He had some good runs.
Yeah.
And Alan Moore.
Alan Moore? What did Alan Moore do? I don't even remember.
Not a ton.
Yeah.
But, so is that who you're going with,
Yeah,
Alan
let's
Moore?
go with Alan
Moore. I'm
Moore.
not familiar with Alan Moore. Frank
So they're
Miller.
getting rid of him.
So
everyone's
I'm
getting
good
rid of
with either
Alan
one.
Moore. I hope he wrote everything that Batman ever did. Which we know he didn't, obviously. We know he didn't. All right. Now, this one I hope is going to elicit a little bit of discussion. Spider-Man, X-Men, the X-Men franchise, and Fantastic Four. Not just the movies, but their entire existence.
Yeah.
So movies, comics, the TV shows, everything. One of them has to go. One of Marvel's big three has to go, just as one of DC's did. Which one is going? And I have to say, personally, I'll start this one off and allow you guys to think, because I had some time to think about all of these. Joe says Fantastic Four. Sorry, Joe, I disagree. I have to get rid of Spider-Man.
Wow.
I love Spider-Man, but I think that if you got rid of the X-Men, you are wiping out a huge portion of Marvel.
Oh, sure.
They have so much they do with the X-Men, and I don't think you can get rid of Fantastic Four. They're the first family. They really helped catapult Marvel at Marvel Comics, and so I love Spider-Man, and he's probably my favorite of those three. I think he's also the least important, which makes me think you got to get rid of him. We'll start with Drucker over here. What do you think?
No, not to say that he's not important, because people are going to get offended by this whole thing of getting rid of somebody in a list of people.
Oh no, he's totally not important. Just
Depends
think about
which
it. The
version
third
we're
Sam
talking
Raimi
about.
film would never have happened.
Go ahead, Dave.
Just to clarify, this is not saying, we don't like this character. We're just saying, we can
Well,
only
sometimes
have
we
one
don't
of
like the character.
Yes.
But
I might have to say Fantastic Four.
So you're agreeing with Mr. Zawisky.
Because
Why?
Spider-Man has probably the best rogues gallery in Marvel.
Agreed. Yes.
He has the most villains that I know of, and a lot of them are pretty good villains. Hopefully we see some more of them in the upcoming Marvel movies with Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. But the thing I think with Fantastic Four is you lose one of their best villains in Doctor Doom, which they haven't done him well in a movie.
Who isn't just Fantastic Four.
Yes.
He overrides Marvel.
Yes.
Yeah.
And man, I would love for the Marvel to actually introduce the Fantastic Four and do a Doctor Doom movie with Doctor Doom as what he
Dr.
should
Doom.
be. But I would have to say Fantastic Four. Spider-Man was also one of Marvel's most popular characters, still is.
True.
Yep.
So I don't know if Marvel becomes as big as it did without Spider-Man. And I don't know if we get the superhero genre movies.
Tell me you're
that we
taking
do.
the X-Men. So that all of us are taking a different one. Who are you taking?